The controversy around Henry Louis Gates' arrest keeps growing, even though the prominent Harvard professor no longer faces charges. CBS News correspondent Michelle Gielan has the story.
Disorderly conduct charges may have been dropped against Harvard scholar Henry Louis Gates, arrested last week after he forced his way into his own home. But the incident is far from over. Wednesday night, the president was asked his reaction. At first, he made light of it.
If I was trying to jigger into, well, I guess this is my house now, so it probably wouldn't happen. But let's say my old house in Chicago. Here I'd get shot.
But then, admitting a bias towards a personal friend, he made his feelings clear.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly in arresting somebody when there was already proof that they were in their own home. There is a long history in this country of African Americans and Latinos being stopped by law enforcement disproportionately.
Meanwhile, the police union is standing behind the arresting officer, Sergeant James Crowley, who's refusing Gates' request for an apology.
There will be no apology. Is this now and ever no apology? Yes.
Michelle Gielan, CBS News, New York.
Joining us now is Professor Gates' daughter, Elizabeth, a writer for thedailybeast.com. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You talked to your dad.
Yes, I've talked to my dad at length.
Is there a way to know what happened in a given moment that would once and for all let us know what it was that made what would have seemed to have been a routine situation not so routine?
I'm not exactly sure what it was. You know, I wasn't there either. I just know that my father has always been a law-abiding citizen, and my father has always been on what he's described as the right side of the law. And I know that whenever he's been questioned about anything, he's always been very upfront. And I know if somebody came to his door and demanded to see his ID, he would have been forthright with all the proper documentation immediately.
Is there something in this that says, I'm not going to take this?
I think after Sergeant Crowley followed him into his home was when he knew that this wasn't going to be standard procedure. And I think that's when, for my father, the tone changed. And I think that's when his defense went up. I think for anybody, you know, who is violated in their own home in that way, I think they would, you know, also call on their own defenses.
In speaking with your father, was he hurt by this?
My father was so sad about this. And again, because he's always, you know, my father might be one of the last black men on earth who actually believed in the justice system. You know, my father is a proponent of, you know, intellectualism can help you outrun the war on race. And I think the incident last week is a clear indication that that's not yet true.
Was his heart broken by it?
My father's very sensitive in this way. You know, he believes in following the rules. And when they're broken, it kind of disturbs his sense of security. And yeah, he was deeply heartbroken. I was not surprised, but he was very surprised.
It was interesting because one of the things your father said was, all I want is an apology from this guy.
Simple human apology.
And the officer in question has said, no way, no how.
I just saw that actually for the first time here on this show. I was surprised. I'd actually never seen him before. So yes, I was surprised that he said no way.
Your father has said that this is going to change. Your father has written books, stacks of books this big, the PBS specials and everything else talking about race, but is going to change how he looks at this from now on.
Yeah. I think every time you're discriminated against in any way, you know, for Muslims, blacks, you know, women, gays, whoever it is, I think whenever you're discriminated against, it changes the tone.
Elizabeth, thanks very much for being here this morning.
It was my pleasure.
We sure appreciate it.
Thanks.